This week I got some more ideas and tips for you on doing full cardstock armies. Previously we talked about multi-basing and making scenic units for your fantasy wargame, but storage has become a big issue for those, and I've learned this the hard way. So here's a way to make separate bases and minis for compact storage, while also addressing a nuance that allows you to correctly rank up all your models. Plus a few other little tips that I have not explicitly talked about before. Start out with dollar store foam board and draw a grid. In this example I'm going to be making some 25mm bases, but the concept is identical for a 20mm or any size base for that matter. Now you want to score partially through the foam board, but unlike we did in episode 9, don't score it through the center. Instead, score it a quarter of the way from an edge. Crack it the rest of the way, and then take a penny or other weight such as a small washer and hot glue it to the bottom. Notice that this rigid piece will keep the two pieces of foam cinched together, and this is what provides the tightness we need to bite the cardstock miniature when you insert it. Flock these up as usual with pebbles and sand. Make sure you apply the white PVA glue carefully with a brush. Don't allow it to get into the crack. Base with burnt umber. Dry brush with tan. And apply a lighter brown to the side. In this case I'm using bark brown. And here they are after drying. I really love this color scheme. And this is how I do all my miniatures now, instead of embellishing too much. This kind of mud brown looks great on a green meadow, an icy tundra, a swamp, or pretty much anywhere. If you add green flock, it kind of breaks the mood on, say, a winter battle mat. So here's another tip to make your ranked up units look awesome. Use 2 or 3 different poses or images. In this case I bought some evil knights from Mayhem and Paper, available on DriveThruRPG, and it included 8 different poses. And these are especially great because they actually have different backs. I picked 3 of the more common looking poses and reserved the other 5 for a different kind of unit later on. But then I took those 3 and I flipped them horizontally so that they're mirror images, giving me effectively 6 unique poses to pick from. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of that simple technique. Look at this unit of Reapers. That's actually 8 of the same single figure, but half the models have been flipped, and then I attach them in a random non-repeating order, so you get a nice chaotic, filled out looking unit of models from one image. So anyway, here's my 6 different styles, and I'm sorting them into piles. Since my regiment will have 20 models, 2 of these poses are going to have 4 instances instead of 3, but that's fine. Note, these were made exactly as described in episode 9, but it is crucial that you do leave the black tab at the bottom. Don't exclude it or cut it off. And I just made a small envelope to store all of them. Now as you go and insert them in the bases, alternate which way is the front facing. In other words, the larger side of the base should be on the, quote, front side half the time. And here's why. I have ranked them up and inserted them into a movement tray, and you can see how I alternated every other one. That was made possible because of the offset we cut into the bases. Even though the figures themselves might stick out beyond their base footprint, it's okay. They don't collide with any of their neighbors because of the offset. Now you'll notice that these guys are oriented laterally because they have a nice front and back image, so it's easy to tell which way is front facing. But if you don't have that, or you're just doing our exact technique from episode 9 so that both sides look identical, then this doesn't work because you don't know which way is front. If that's the case, simply rotate all the bases in the movement tray by 90 degrees, like you see here, and the offset again will still work. Although I know in this picture you're seeing, we don't have offsets. This is an old picture before I standardized my approach. The point is, if you look straight on at the regiment, all the cardstock miniatures disappear. Or if you don't like that, here's one final idea to introduce that nice, chaotic, filled out look. Cut the base slits at random angles. See how these two units look fairly decent? Each of them is only using a single image, identical on both sides of the model. Notice also that the elven spearmen have toothpicks painted to look like spears. Very simple, but adding one little 3D element to a 2D cardstock miniature can work absolute miracles for improving the overall look. Like, check out this undead worm rider. Separate wing pieces attached at an angle, with the whole thing mounted on a chunk of dark matter. And movement trays. Easy. This is a big rectangle of chipboard with 5mm wide foam board walls. So if you need, say, 100mm in order to hold 5 miniatures in a row, cut the chipboard to 112mm. That gives you 5 for each wall, plus 2mm to spare for minor error. It won't affect the game meaningfully. Besides, you're not taking these to an official event or anything. This cardstock army stuff is really meant for the kitchen table only. I am Wylock, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.